So, in the never-ending story of Elon Musk's infiltration of the Treasury Department, we now have a meeting with him and Madam President in the Oval Office in front of cameras so that they could lie in front of country and God. There was a lot of defense being given for what DOGE was up to. I'm gonna pronounce it like that from now on, by the way. A lot of this was very vague defense over what Musk is doing inside of the department or any of these systems. You'll notice a trend with his quotes. These are just a few. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. That's what democracy is all about. He says that, but that's not what democracy is all about because he was not elected. Democracy is about the fact that these agencies were created by Congress. This federal money that they are freezing and playing with, this is all set aside by Congress, who controls the purse strings. Elon Musk, by his own behavior, is violating the Constitution. This is anti-democratic. One person's voice is overriding the will of the Constitution and the voice of the people. He also wants to implement common sense controls to the government, arguing that his ideas are not draconian. That's not for him to decide. He doesn't get to dictate what is considered common sense or draconian. That's for us, the people, to make that determination. Yet again, showing he does not understand or care about democracy. When asked about his own personal conflicts of interest with his work overhauling the government, Musk replied that transparency is what builds trust. So he dodges the question entirely to claim that as if he already has transparency, so he already has the trust. Quote, "If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible or critical manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter." Yet again, assuming he is the one that gets to determine what are things that matter to him, not to us, not through our representatives convening in Congress to create legislation that the executive branch then must follow per the constitutional checks and balances. No, instead, Elon Musk believes that he should get to determine what is proper pay, not us. The stuff that we're doing with the Treasury Department is so basic that you can't believe it doesn't exist already. What is it that he's doing inside the Treasury Department? We still don't know. Adding that the U.S. currently pays some terrorist organizations, known fraudsters that belong on a do-not-pay list, shortly following up with, "Some of the things that I say will be incorrect, and should be correct. So nobody is going to bat 1,000. We will make mistakes, and we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes." What kind of mistakes? What are the stakes that we're talking about? Yet again, there is so much hedging, so much, J.D. Vance might like this, so much couching of their answers that it's difficult to make anything out of it other than what sounds like overwhelming guilt. People that come out, if they were doing something that they truly believed in, they would not hold the presser in the Oval Office between both of these men to personally try to assuage the concerns of the American people. This, to me, strikes me as just them starting to realize this is getting out of control. He also lists off a bunch of vague examples of particular types of corruption, but he doesn't provide anything specific, so he either doesn't actually have the evidence that he claims that he has, or that he does have the evidence, and that he can't quite risk defaming people, because if he is wrong, like he said, that would mean that almost all of the evidence that he's citing could also be wrong. That's not even to say that since this information was illegally required, that all of this is probably inadmissible in court. So even if they did discover rampant fraud and abuse within the financial systems of the United States, all of this information was gathered illegally. I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds inadmissible, something that will probably come up in the future. Trump had said that he thought it's crazy that DOGE has found so much fraud, saying that we had no idea we were going to find this much. How much? We don't know. Just so much. So much. Trump denounced judges ruling against him. Some judges have certain leanings, as he put it, which means leanings against him, things that fall outside of what he wants a judge to rule in his favor. Quote, "It seems hard to believe that judges want to stop us. It seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Then we have to look at the judges, because I think it's a very serious violation." So, they are now using this claim of rooting out corruption and fraud in order to target their political enemies. You combine that with the fact that this administration is now protecting this information of the Presidential Records Act, and it allows them to decide what kind of corruption leaks to the public. It allows this administration to hold a sword of Damocles over the head of many, many people. And you combine that with Trump's open pardoning of incredibly corrupt officials, including Mayor Adams of New York. He's been saved by kissing the ring of Trump and providing who knows what in return. Or pardoning Rod Blagojevich, the ex-governor of Illinois, who was serving 14 years in prison for selling a Senate seat. These are, and also in conjunction with Trump informing the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to no longer prosecute open bribery of foreign officials or governments or businesses. We are watching an administration doing everything it can to normalize brazen corruption in order to get out ahead of the aggressive reaction this is going to have. This has been this is one of those situations where it suggests to me that what they're up to is nefarious, and they may have bitten off more than they can chew. They may have wound up creating their own undoing, and it's hard to tell where this goes from here. A while ago, I had expressed my concerns where it's like, I have doubts in the future stability of our economic system. I don't know what they're doing to it. It calls into question the legitimacy of our debt, the value of our dollar. I don't know what to make of this. And this is the worry that now 5 previous heads of the Treasury Department came out and said that this risks the United States credit score. People will become less convinced of the United States' economic well-being, and that will have incredibly long-term financial impacts on the United States. All in this just absolutely out in the open, brazen infiltration of the United States government. This was a hostile takeover, and it might lead to its own undoing.